Bookie Beatdown coming at you. Paul Shaughnessy, Cody Saftik on the heels of a pretty good UFC night, bad regional scene night or week. So kind of like flip the script, but a lot of people in the Discord pretty happy this morning. I think for the most part.
Yeah, listen, UFC is the premier product, so we can come in every week and say, "Oh, well, UFC wasn't great, but some regional stuff." And then, as Paul mentioned, quite the opposite. Like PFL, woof, I got torched bad.
Same.
Woof, I got torched bad. But yeah, again, UFC top 4 tickets. We had some good underdogs. We had some good plus money. Shout out to Cool Bets. They had given me another Saftic super boost on the first 2 lines. Second straight week it hit. So the trend has been usually for UFCs, like I'm happy to hit that top ticket. I can break even, but we've been hitting a lot of like top 2 tickets. It's small profit, small profit, small profit. Nice to hit a third line. Nice to hit a fourth line. And of course, guys like Dominic Reyes help juice it up. So yeah, this is an exciting recap to talk about, Paul, because it was a good one. Looking at the interwebs this morning as well, looked like a lot of people came out on the positive. So if we can all crush the bookie, that's what it's all about. UFC 314 in Florida, one to remember.
Hondo P. Seems like Volk cards we've done historically pretty well. There was one like 3 years ago with like Max Holloway where like, Fatty Malin in the Discord. He had hit like the huge like 50K first plays on DK and stuff like that. Yeah, we have good luck with Volk for the most part.
Yeah, Volk's on. It seems like we're on. It's like that movie, The Cooler. Like if he's having a bad day, everybody in the casino loses money. And then he meets a girl, and he's like real happy, and everyone's winning money. So the casino seeks a. They're gonna ruin his life so that they can be profitable. Volk, yeah, he lives to fight another day. You don't usually see typically an older champion regain the title. This wasn't really the number 1 versus the number 2 guy, but all the same, he came through like we need him to.
100%, bro. I think he was the old. Yeah, I think I saw a stat that he was like the oldest champion to like retain or to like get their title. 35 years old. I
Well,
don't know the
they
exact
said
stat.
it had never a champion or a fighter 35 or older had never captured the 155 or lighter title. No 55, no
Yes, that
45,
was
no
it.
30. That's the stat, and it's a wicked good stat. This I don't think breaks that stat because it's not as if he came in here and beat Ilir Topuria. It wasn't like he revenged that loss and beat the number 1 guy. He fought Diego Lopes, who, zero offense, earned a lot more respect in my book, showed a couple different things. But at the same time, I don't even think Lopes is top 3 or 4 of the division. Like, we're going to talk about Gene Silva in a bit. We're going to talk about guys like Movsar Evlov, who already has a win over him. Obviously, Volkanovski now. Again, it's like Lopes might be the 5th best guy in the division. So for the stat to now be Volk just became a legend and he just got the title back and he just showed that old guys can do it. Yes, he did. But it's more of like an interim title. It feels like an interim title more than anything else.
100%. Yeah, I mean, when the champion leaves it's like when the light heavyweight division, kind of started settling itself out. It's still kind of in that process. After John Jones left, it's like, well, you're the champion. Yes, but you know,
Yeah, is
not
Glover the real
undisputed in
champion?
a degree.
Yeah,
Sorry.
Glover's a badass. Could Glover hang with Jones? No, he lost all 5 rounds to him. But Jones leaves, and now all of a sudden you guys got like Jan Blachowicz and Glover Teixeira and Pereira because he won it and he defended it so many times. Yeah, he's the actual light heavyweight champion, or was. But whenever the best guy of the division leaves, Islam Makhachev leaves, Charles Oliveira somehow becomes the champion. Is he really the champion? You got to defend it a bunch more times. So, anyways, that's at the top of the card. But of course, we love to start with some greasy prelims. So, women's MMA, Paul.
Doesn't get much greasier than Nora Cornhole. I know that's not how you pronounce her name, but kind of looked like if you bet Nora in round 1, you're kind of like, oh no, because she misses the weight, she gets taken down, or she's on her back for most of the first round. It ain't pretty, but yeah, it's kind of like how we read it, like on Dogger Pass this week. Is like, well, one of these two is like a bit of a dog, right? She wants to like get after it. She wants to make things physical. Not gonna quit on herself. I think we had pretty good read on this fight. So Cornhole, second round, rear naked choke. Yeah, first round wasn't pretty, but she showed up in the second round. Your thoughts? I think you muted yourself.
That's my bad. I muted myself. Yeah,
Oh my
I
goodness.
know, tech problems. I had over 2.5 on this one at -200, which obviously did not hit, and then Cornolle on some parlays. The first round went kind of how I expected, where absolutely nothing happened. The striking stats are 3-2. The second round, Cornolle starts to take over, and this is great. And all I just need for her to do is now win this round and win half of the second round or the third round, and we can hit that over. But Haley Cowan just packed it in. She is 33. She's on a 2-year-long layoff. She's not good to begin with. Her husband's going through some pedo charges right now. I'm not sure if he was
Yeah,
even
I
in her
saw something
corner.
about that.
Yeah, like there's a lot of moving parts for her, so it probably wasn't a great version. But yeah,
4 minutes and 24 seconds of control time in round one.
and I'll admit this wasn't exactly a walk in the park. One judge somehow gave Cornolle the first round, but the other two
That's
sided.
bad.
I know it was really, really, really bad.
That's
She
about as
landed
bad as
3
it gets.
significant strikes and 14 seconds of control time, and they'll
Yeah.
say that armbar was close. She threw up an armbar, but I don't think it was close, and it was
No.
like a minute and a half into the round. So there's another 3 minutes after that of her ain't doing shit. Anyways, regardless of that, is that yeah, the first round when she got taken down controlled like that, I'm getting Jocelyn Edwards flashbacks where it's like Cornolle's a little bit older. She's a Muay Thai fighter. She had a bad weight cut. Her 2 wins since the Jocelyn Edwards fight were both against strikers. She's not proven her grappling's good. She's not proven she can get up. It feels like I may have put myself in a hole here, but Cal was just legitimately not good. She tried for the tried for the takedown in the second round. Botched takedown attempt allows Cornolle to end up on top, and then Cornolle shows you a ground game. Like she absolutely beats her and gets the finish. So yeah, I mean, good way to start out in the sense that Cornolle won and we had her on tickets. Not a great way to start out from my prop side of things. That I thought this would be more just like a slow paced grind. The first round looked exactly like that. The second round, Cornolle just opened up just a little and Cowan packed it up. So yeah, win for Cornolle and we move on.
We move on. And it was my first loss of the night. I took a shot on Gore, and I took the Gore sub props, and I lost. And shouts to Mikey in the Discord for double grading my losing bets there.
Yeah,
Much
that's
appreciated, bro.
annoying.
Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, you haven't been put on a list. That's for damn sure. That's besides the point. Yeah, it was always Tulio. Tulio kicked the crap out of him. But you don't know that pre-flop. And like the reason I really actually got to it is just like the amount of steam that came in. I was just like earlier in the week when we did Dogger Pass, I was just like, we were in this range here, right? Like 250, 260. I'm like, all right, I don't have to get to it. And it's like as it got bigger, of course they're enticing you to bring in that action. And I will give credit where credit is due to Gore. It's just like the guy went out there and fought for my money. He was just outgunned. But Marco Tulio is a bad man. Very, very dangerous man. Yeah. Him and Big Norm, if they end up getting married, having some kids, champion 2045. That makes sense. Yeah, 20 years from now. That would make sense.
Yeah, if Big Norm and Big Marco came together to make a Big Pedro, yeah, he'd be a hell of a fighter. Fighter. Yeah, screw that other loser who cheated on her. She got a new man, Marco Tulio, and he's a winner. Yeah, listen, the sport's all about showing me a little bit more so that the next time I know more about you. We'll talk about that in Gene Silva. He had to prove some stuff to me, but he proved all of that. For Tulio, it's much of the same. He can bang, but what's his cardio like? What's his ability to carry this pace into later rounds? Like, what's the depth there? Now, Gore's an easy opponent in the sense that guy's super tough. Guy went out there and gave it his damnedest. Guy does have some skill to him, but he's at a great disservice fighting in the UFC. You put that version of Trejan Gore that showed up last night on the LFA card, he kills them, right? Mm-hmm. You put that same version of Trejan Gore on the vast majority of the regionals that we talk about, he's an absolute standout. To put him in the UFC, keep in mind right now, he's 5-3. Marco Tulio is 14-1. In what world is this a sensible fight to put together? But they're big guys and they're banging and anything can happen. Tulio just proves that his cardio is legit. You look at the striking numbers, 77 significant strikes landed in the first. That's not even the totals. That's 77 significant landed and 110 significant thrown. And in the second round, it didn't look like he was taking his foot off the pedal in the slightest bit. Gore fought, not a good game plan. He did the right things in that he survived this first round onslaught. Now, presumably, this Brazilian's going to slow down in the second round and Gore might be able to work his, but he never did. He never did. He's long. Impressive. He throws tons of volume. He's got some legitimate power. Gore took 4 or 5 shots that snapped his head back that put down the average man. The fact that this thing went over 1.5 rounds, an absolute miracle. But Tulio looks good. Now, again, what do we know about his ground game? What do we know about some other things? We don't. That remains to be seen. But can he strike? Absolutely. Does he have pace? Does he have cardio? Does he have power? Is he a problem for a lot of the guys in the division at this weight class? Yes. Could he enter tomorrow and fight Brad Tavares and give him a go? But why the hell not? Should he? No. Brad Tavares is a 25-fight UFC veteran, and you've got a couple. But he's trending towards he might be a 15 type guy, maybe a top 10 guy. It's a shitty division, but I don't know that he's like gonna win a world title. But he showed he's a promising prospect, and could take this to the next level, no doubt about it. Liked what I saw. Gore, he was the barometer test, but he unfortunately should go back to the regional scene if his body can hold up.
Yeah. Tough scene for him. But like he showed a lot of heart, but it's like he showed also that he doesn't belong at this. He could get some wins in the UFC because we're bringing in people from Contender Series all the time. But is that what's best for him? I don't know. Maybe going to like somewhere like PFL or something like that would be better for him. I mean, he's like already 30. It's like he's not he's not a prospect.
He's got
anymore.
8 pro fights though is the problem. Like even in PFL, they'd say fight this 16-2 Russian guy. Like it's no good for him, right? If he was to fight on an LFA show, it'd be hey, it's 4-1 versus 5-3. That's what he needs. I know what you're saying. He can beat some Contender Series guys, but in the same breath, this Contender Series guy is going to be some 8-1 Peruvian kid with a cast iron chin on him and great cardio. And, it's just, you need your confidence back. You've gotten your ass kicked in the UFC a bunch of times. Won his last 2 with guillotines, but you do see that there's levels to this, and you can't fight Cody Brundridges of the world forever. For the record, he got knocked out by Brundridge. So that pretty well tells you, where he's at. Tough scene.
I was under the impression that he was injured in the Brundage fight. And I think, some of his layoff after that kind of makes sense. But yeah, Tulio's a bad man. And I took my L on the chin on that. But you're gonna lose when you're taking some plus 400 shots, and those props were like super long. So it wasn't that damaging. Sumudaerji versus Mitch Raposo. Raposo was able to wrestle, wasn't able to hold him down, wasn't able to do all that much. I didn't really agree with the split, to be perfectly honest. Like I thought Sumudaerji won pretty clearly. It's like Raposo was competitive or may have won 5 years ago, but like the way that this sport is these days, I'm sorry. I mean, he had 4 minutes of control time, but like a lot of that was probably standing cage control against the fence. And it just really did nothing with the strikes. 13 of 30 significant strikes. Just didn't do enough. I don't know, maybe like I wasn't really listening, so like I don't know if his corner wasn't telling Raposo to do anything there. But I had picked Sue. I bet him a little bit live. But yeah, otherwise, like it was a close, competitive fight, and we've seen worse decisions, go the other way before. But I didn't agree with the split. I thought it was very, very clearly Sumudaerji. You?
Yeah, I thought Sumudaerji won as well. I had Raposo on some parlay tickets, so obviously I would have liked for him to win at plus 125. Hey, it was a 50-50 fight. It was close. I lost a split, so I'm not ashamed of taking the shot. And I think the read was right. He was going to get takedowns. Where the read was wrong is that Sumudaerji was just able to get up literally instantly every single time. So I think I overplayed Raposo's ground game, grappling, not so much wrestling as much as he got 11 takedowns. And he was averaging 8 seconds of ground control time per takedown. So there's a difference between Yusuf Zalal touched Calvin Kattar and ran, but he did win, right? And Torrance Finney really just took him down and held him down, but he did win. Raposo's a blend of both of those things, which is why he did not win. He's not hitting him and running like Yusuf Zalal, and he's not completing takedowns and racking up 2.5 minutes of control time with the takedowns. What he's doing is he's just running and then holding him up against the cage, and you can't reward that. Like, it's an entertainment sport at the end of the day, but it's also a fight. And like, I'm sure his coaches are telling this kid's got really good footwork. Defensively, Sumudaerji is swinging at air for the vast majority of it, but Raposo's not countering. He's not throwing his own offense. He lands 9 significant strikes, according to their metrics, but no matter how you look at it, he lands like less than a dozen significant strikes throughout 15 minutes. Even when you get the takedown, as he's working his way back up, slam him one in the face at least. Oh, here's the most frustrating part. Almost universally, when a guy's got a guy pinned up against the cage and he can't get the takedown, what's he doing, Paul? knee in the thighs. Short little knees in the thighs. Some guys like the foot stomp. I don't care for it myself, but it does some damage and it looks good to the judges because you're doing something. Raposo, every time he had Sumudaerji up against the cage, there was no knees to the thigh, no knees to the body, no small little elbows up tight, no foot stomps, quite literally just push you up against the cage. And that's a 50-50 position to me. Yes, the opponent's got his back up against the cage, but y'all ain't doing anything. Sumudaerji would get taken down for 5 seconds, smack him 4 times in the face, and stand right back up. So how do you give credit? Again, I thought Finney won. There was a lot of control time, but it was real control. Yusuf, I get it. It's touch and go running away, but it's working. It's effective. What this man did was just run away the entire time. Avoid, 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 avoid. Single leg takedown, switch to a double, put you at the base of the cage down for 5 seconds. Sumudaerji back up. Sumudaerji splits away. Sumudaerji goes back to striking effectively. So would I have loved to have get that split decision? Yeah. We're in Florida in the midst of a tariff war, a trade war with China. President Trump's in the building.
Oh, God.
Why don't you just give it to Raposo? But no, they called it straight, man. They called it down the line the way it should have been. Yuji Kamiro, the only guy that's a veteran UFC judge, was the one that gave it to Raposo. The 2 newbies were the one that got it right and gave it to Sumudaerji. And listen, I don't love to lose, but I can admit when I was wrong. And knew we'd get the takedown. Thought we'd get a lot more with the ground control. Because we didn't. We lost the fight fair and square.
Yep. We move on to Mikey O baby. He defeats Cedric Dumas, 249, round 1. The big question of the week was, can the fighting nerds fix Mikey O baby? I mean, I don't know if we got all the answers in this fight, but he came out like a bat out of hell and put an absolute whooping on Cedric Dumas. I mean, the stoppage was obviously questionable. I got lucky on this because I had this in some wild long shot parlays. So I had Mikey O in round 1 in these parlays. Yeah, long story, it was like within the rules of the boost or whatever. But so yeah, I got a little bit lucky. But like Mikey O came out, did some work. Dumas, yeah, he wasn't actually hurt, wasn't finished. And like when we talk about the Elkins, that's what's always like weird about this sport is, you know, the leash that Darren Elkins got against Erosa that we'll talk about later is so much different than what like, you know, Woodson or Dumas gets here. But it is what it is. That's the MMA gambling scene. But like Mikey O looked great. So like don't take anything away from Mikey O baby. Your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, I mean, this one's something about the fighting nerds for sure. I mean, we could just talk about game theory on that. That Carlo Paredes is undefeated in the UFC. Caio Baraha is undefeated in the UFC. 19-0. This guy spent 6 weeks there. He's on a 3-fight losing streak, Paul. He spent 6 weeks there. And he came out as like a career best version. Now he's fought so many guys that are better than Dumas.
Yeah.
It's easy to say that it's a career best version, but you're gonna look a lot better when you're fighting down in competition. And compared to a lot of the guys that he's been in there with, Kevin Hall and Khalil Roundtree, those guys, this obviously was going to be, you know, a tad bit easier for him. I would say he looked good. He moves forward, southpaw. He's letting his hands go. He's known to have good boxing, and yeah, goes to the body, goes to the head. He kind of did what he normally does.
Yeah,
it's that Dumas just got off to a slow start. Like he's not moving. He's not trying to establish a range. He's basically hit me, and I'm going to try to fire back. But he was a tad, I wouldn't say slower than Mikey O. Just that Mikey O is pressing forward and throwing 3 or 4 at a time, and you're trying to back out and throw one and done. So Dumas, by the time Dumas was trying to find that comfort and that rhythm, it was done already. He had taken some damage. He went down. You can say early stoppage, and that's fair. But they're like 90 seconds into this thing. Oh, baby Mikey O is still fresh. He got 3 more minutes.
He wasn't going.
Nah, he was just going to keep smashing him.
Similar with like the Ige fight later that we'll talk about. It's just like it was maybe a little bit early, but it's just like the heat was on. The heat was 100% on.
Was early, but would he have gone back down a minute later? Entirely possible. This one didn't feel super early. It felt like Dumas is not good. Yeah. He's not. This is not a position he's getting out of. He's getting beat up on the feet before he even just went to the ground. I'm okay with stopping that one. But yeah, if you like violence and you hate Dumas, who's not exactly the most likable guy out there, then you want to see this guy take a beating. This is a good enough beating. I can't see why the UFC would keep him. He is a controversial figure. He's a bit polarizing. He's not good. You know, let go. He's from Florida. They were in Florida. Okay, this is his send-off. Quick little 1-out homer. He gets drubbed, and less than 2 minutes. So that's unfortunately the Dumas case. For Mikey O, give him some more all action guys that don't really want to take him down. I'm in. I like this guy. And will he say, hey, that was a good camp at Fighting Nerds. I think I'll do 6 weeks for my next fight. If that's the case, he's not going to get marginally better. If he realizes this is a great version of him, his brother's just coming off a career best victory. He's coming off a career best victory. He liked the Fighting Nerds. He liked being Brazil. Move there for 3-4 months, man. Like, stay there legit. Then you may go to the next level. But to spend 6 weeks there, you may come in good shape. You may come in with a good game plan. He looked in good shape. He had a good game plan. But where his
Kyle
skills,
in his corner.
yeah, where his
can't
skills
hurt.
marginally, yeah, you fought Kyle Barahau. Now the guy's in his corner. That's evolution. That's what martial arts is all about. And props to him for getting the win. Had him on the second line, need him to go out there and do something. Got to admit, a little bit worried. He's on a 3-fight losing streak. Come on. But the way he just got out there, early stoppage or not, I'll take it. I was happy with it. And we can roll from there.
Hundo P. We roll from there to a situation where if it wasn't Darren Elkins, they stopped this way sooner, man. Shouts to YC Lindsay.
Shout out.
The world's biggest Julian Juicy J Erosa fan. He was trying to get me to do like a shoey bet. It's just like, man, I'm not that passionate about this side, this total, this anything in this fight. He's just like, he's gonna kill him. And credit where credit due. It should have been stopped like 2 minutes earlier, man. It was tough to watch. It was tough to see. And like, Darren's taking so much damage. He's got obviously tattooed across his chest. It's tough. Like, what do you do with Darren Elkins at this point? He seems pretty much done. Credit where credit's due. Like, picture perfect performance. Absolute drubbing by Julian Erosa. It was one-way traffic pretty much from the time they started until there was a mercy stoppage. And yeah, it was tough to see because it's just like that. The up kicks from the ground just wobbled Darren so much that it's just like he was just a sitting duck at that point. I don't know. Your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, the whole thing was actually tough to watch. I would assume the UFC releases him. There's 3 levels of old man gang in the UFC, right? Jim Miller, he's a little past his expiry date, but he's still serviceable. He still give you rounds. He still try. Clay Guida looked better in his last fight than Darren Elkins, no doubt about it. But Clay's shop worn, and there's just not what more fights can you do for him? He's in his 40s. He's had a lot of fights. Does he fight contender series guys at this point? That's what has just happened to Elkins. It's not like losing to Erosa does anything to his record or his notoriety. Erosa is a quality opponent and looked good in that fight. It's that the way he looked in it. What can you do with him moving forward? His best path here was if Rosa just came out swinging, which he really did, but got in the pocket and swung with him. If this was just a chaotic car crash of a fight right off the hop, maybe Darren Elkins could maybe by chance intercept something or get a takedown and land an elbow. But Erosa looked like super patient, man. Like really good. Just really took his time. The takedowns, he got 2 easy single leg takedowns Elkins did on Erosa. But it was almost like Erosa didn't care. It was like, take the leg, we'll go down, I'll fish for a guillotine. If it's there, you're done. If it's not there, I'm just going to scramble back up. But when he was up, he just really bided his time. Paul mentioned the up kick, but the fight starts and he throws a jab. Watching it live, I didn't even see it land, but Elkins hits the deck and pops right back up off like a jab. I can't even call it a stiff jab. It's just a jab. Then the up kick. So now he's double rocked. Now the rest of the fight is like, he looks like he's moving underwater. He looks like Chuck Liddell in the Chuck Liddell versus Tito 3 fight. Like his reflex are completely shot. And the only thing I can speculate is, he's 41. Yeah, he's had a lot of experience. It's that when you fight like that, your whole style is just grind and hands down and head never moves and crash the pocket. Is when you fight like that, you train like that too. And I just feel like he either got a concussion in training or took a beating in training or has just taken years of beatings in training. And then what you saw last night was like, it was actually sad to see. And I like watching felony fights. I like watching Pride FC. You can stomp on a guy's head. I've watched some real questionable like World Star hip hop videos or like even darker than that. This genuinely felt really gross and dirty. Bad. I don't know why. Maybe I'm getting older. Maybe I'm getting aged. Maybe I have a soft spot for Darren Elkins.
Yeah.
They could have stopped that fight way earlier. They should have stopped that fight.
They should have. And if it wasn't Darren Elkins in there, there's no way. There's no way they let it go on that much. Like he was damaged goods for like the last 2 minutes, just getting pounded on.
Yeah, and part
It's
of
tough to
it's like,
watch.
well, Darren Elkins is one of those guys. He takes a beating and he comes back. That's Darren Elkins, and so you
Exactly.
gave him the benefit of the doubt. The other half of it is the ref talks to these guys in the back and be like, "Okay, he's 41.
Yeah.
He's taking a lot of beatings," and then be like, "Hey, man, so we're going over the rules." He'd be like, "Oh," he'd be like, "Oh my god, dude, why are they carting this guy out here right now?" Like, but Robin Black told me this a long time ago. And I agree. He's a full grown man. He's more than capable of making his own decisions. It's not up to you or me to tell this guy to hang up the gloves. But fighting at an elite level against some of the sport's best guys, that should be over for him. If he wants to go fuck around on a regional scene somewhere, or take a retirement fight, or fight a 6-9 guy just to go out on a win for all like, I do not care. Go ahead and do it. But I don't want to see you fight, this level at this level. Not because I don't support you, but just because like I just had my feelings hurt. I bet against you. I'm real happy you lost. I'm real happy I got money in my account, and I somehow still feel bad about it. So that's not what I'm in the sport for. To watch full grown men take devastating CTE type beatings, and this was really just not good for him.
Yeah, it was blood money, Cody. It was blood
Yeah,
money that you
that's what it
accepted.
was, man. It felt icky.
Yeah.
Somebody died for this money. I didn't like it.
The funny thing is that the next fight is almost kind of like the reverse of that. I'm sure Chase Hooper would have been happy to finish Jim Miller, but round 3, and I was happy about it because I was on the over 1.5, as were you, and I got Chase Hooper by decision plus 275. Um, which absolutely slapped as well. And in round 3, it's just like I was watching that fight being like, I feel a little bit lucky because I feel like if Chase really wanted to, mount this guy and pound him out, we talked about it on Dogger Pass that like he may just, have so much respect for Jim. And how could you not have respect for Jim Miller? Just an absolute legend of the game. Just a guy who's, had more fights than anybody, says no to absolutely no fights. I understand. Yeah, I mean Chase is just a nice kid. That's what I think. What it really comes down to. He's a nice kid, and thankfully for my bets and my bank account. Yeah, round 3 he just basically cruised, but showed a lot of skill, lot of ability. Kind of like Chase just kind of keeps getting better. Maybe some people will fault him for not getting a finish here, but not me. I'm probably because I'm a little bit biased, but yeah, I think he literally just hung out in half guard for the last like 3 minutes because he's like, I don't really want to pound Jim Miller's head in. Like, he was so nice to me this week. You know what I mean? Like, that's kind of the vibe I got. You?
Yeah, like Jim's so likable that's got to be part of it. It's like when guys fight Andrei Arlovsky, it's like ah, like I don't really want to hurt the guy. I grew up watching him. He's a legend of the sport, right? So with Jim, it's a lot of the same feelings, but also it's like Jim going into the third round, like after the second, starting the third. Jim is huffing and puffing. Like he is tired. You're on
Yeah.
top of this guy who's a legend, who, despite the fact that he's absolutely dog tired in his 40s, more shop worn than Darren Elkins, has Lyme disease, and he's still giving you the goddamn damnedest he got, then I think there's a respect thing. But also, Hooper generally tired himself. Like, how many takedowns did they record him as having?
I can scroll up. Yeah.
Yeah, Hooper had 8 of 14 takedowns with
Yeah.
10 minutes of control time. Jim did an excellent job of getting back up, and then Hooper's wrestling.
Jim did well in round 1, but we said that it's on Dogger Pass as well. It's just like
longer it
Chase
goes.
is gonna set a pace that Jim can't keep. And like I
Yeah.
bet Jim Miller so many times that it's just like you can kind of see it's just like where he's gonna have success. Like if the opponent's chinny, has submission defense issues, or doesn't have a good gas tank, Jim can 100% compete still, I think. But
Yeah, and Jim won the first round on 2 judges' scorecards.
yep,
One's got to imagine if Jim was a few years younger, 5 years younger, 10 years younger, then
maybe he gets it. Yeah.
he beats Chase Hooper. The first round, he's landing some really good left hooks, got a takedown of his own, did well on the ground. It's just like you said, Hooper's shown in his past number of fights, he's got a good gas tank. He beats these guys the longer it goes. And Jim, with everything we've talked about in age and record and 18 losses in the UFC. That's a lie. 17 losses in the UFC, 18 losses overall. But yeah, it was a good barometer test for Hooper. It really tested his gas tank, caused him to stick to a game plan. He showed elite level grappling. He showed that his striking's improved. Everything checked off for that. But for Jim Miller, like before the fight, he's saying, if I beat Hooper, I'd like to fight Justin Gaethje. Like, why would you want to do that? But that goes to show you the level of Jim Miller's like willingness, and great company guy. UFC loves having him around, but the end's starting to get near. For Hooper, meanwhile, he just fought Clay Guida. He just fought Jim Miller. He's been big favorites in both. He's won them. I can't say effortlessly. Definitely the Guida one. This one, there was a little bit of pushback in that first round. They need to give him a younger, higher profile, not higher profile, but higher contender status type guy. But I don't want them to see them rush him. Just because you beat two faded legends of the game, don't toss them to the deep end right away. Like, build this guy up, give him reasonable fights that make sense. And Hooper's still young. Striking's obviously getting better. Wrestling looked really good. And ground game's top notch. So Hooper will do some good things if he just stays the course.
100%. We got Verna.
This is a
Verna taking on Jan Janan right at the end of round 2, really. I think that's just it's the Verna experience, bro. Is like, she's just so good at scrambling. She's not very good at anything else. We talked about it on Dogger Pass. Another thing, like we nailed a lot of these reads to a certain extent. She's just a scramble master. If she was like a video game character, it's like all of her other skills would be like 60, 55, whatever. You know what I mean? But like her scrambling ability and her ability to just like hold control and like get top control. It's like you just don't want to ever engage with this at all. And like Yanjo Nan, right at the end of round 2, I think that was like the real key. Is like she got an opportunity to get back to her feet. And it's like, I know there was 4 minutes and 14 seconds of control time, but it's like, if she lands some bombs, at the end of that round, it's like the way that fights are scored, like Verna literally had 0 for 1 on significant strikes. So it's just like, I wouldn't have taken much to steal that round. And did anybody? No, everyone gave 30-27. But like, she just didn't disengage, got back into the scramble, and then in the last position again. So it's like, yeah, Verna's really good at what she does. Is she good enough to win a belt? I don't believe it, but it's like what she does is somehow working, but somebody with good enough grappling to just stop that from happening in the first place, I think is going to put an end to it. I'd love to see Suarez.
Yeah, I was going to say, Verna will get a title fight next, but if she doesn't, her versus Suarez is definitely the logical fight to put together.
Because just like, well, that's probably, it's not going to work anymore. Suarez probably takes you down.
No, but Suarez, who doesn't have any striking, probably outstrikes her. Like the bottom line. Verna throws a couple leg kicks here and there, but yeah, it would be the shittiest striking battle you've ever seen between two of the highest level grapplers in the division.
100%. What were your thoughts here?
Yeah, listen, this is a bad pick. I gotta take the L on this one. And not, mind you, there's 13 fights on the card. Yao Jianan's the 13th pick for me. She's the PRP pick. She's slight plus money, but hindsight, always easier to look back after the fact, is that Yan gets taken down in the vast majority of her fights, and Verna gets takedowns in the vast majority of hers. Verna was going to get this fight to the ground, and Verna's one of these, I only need 2 takedowns, 1 in the first and 1 in the second, and that's it. It's a 3-round fight. If you're not going to knock her out or submit her, which is highly unlikely, you got to stay off the mat for 2 of the 3 rounds, which is nearly impossible. The first round starts, Jan's definitely a better striker, moving well, stuffs the first 2, but that's the thing with Verna. She misses one, and then she misses a second one, and then, body lock takedown up against the cage. She's on your back. She's fishing the armbar. Almost subbed her in the first with the armbar. Second round, tries to sub her again, gets reversed. Like you said, even though she's getting ground and pound a little bit, able to re-reverse. Third round, she just takes her down again. That was the number 1 contender fight. They'll move her to a fight with Zhang Weili.
I think Weili kills her, but
I would say that Weili's wrestling is infinitely better than Jan's, so she probably has a better chance of keeping the fight upright, and her striking is way better than Verna, so she's going to be able to chop her up. It's a 5-round fight. I would believe, has better cardio, better striking, but there is that X factor. Whereas like
Verna just jumps at your single leg, grabs a single leg, gets this fight to the mat, and then sub is wide open. Like, it's definitely always in play.
It's going to always be in play. And when you talk about heavy power punchers, like this guy will probably lose, but he's got so much power that if he does hit, he's Derek Lewis. He's got awful skills, but if he hits you, you're done. The same as with these ace submission people, where you go into a fight, worse cardio, worse durability, worse level of experience, worse wrestling, worse power, worse strike, worse every box across the boards. Like Paul's saying, it's a video game. They only give you 10 stat points. You gave none to striking. You gave 2 to wrestling and 9 to grappling, and that's it. You are very much a one-dimensional fighter, but if you can get it to that dimension, you're going to be live. It didn't work for Mackenzie Dern, but I just being one-dimensional at the highest level. But with Verna, again, it's a submission chance. I would think she gets chewed up pretty bad in a title fight.
100%. All right, we move on. We've got Woodson versus Ige. Interestingly enough, Ige was up. The commentary went pretty crazy about it being a horrible stoppage, yada yada yada. And of course, when you've seen Dan Ige,
Worst stoppage ever. It's like, do you guys not remember Ankalaev versus?
I've seen worse. Yeah. But I mean, I'm biased because both of us were on Ige KO here, so that's a little bit biased. But there was still over 3 minutes left, 3.5 minutes left, and Woodson was certainly hurt. So, and Ige was up to on all judges' scorecards. He was up 2-0. So the little flim flam, softer shots were not getting the attention of the judges. Yeah, I mean, I was, the stats may lie a little bit here, but the judges were not going by. They weren't going by the stats. They were going by who's the guy who's landing the bigger strikes. I mean, I guess it's kind of crazy when you see 26-9, but yeah, I thought Woodson, frankly, won round 1. But round 3, Dan Ige didn't fight like somebody who thought he was up 2-0. Thank God it wasn't open scoring, right? Because then he would have been on the on the back pedal rather than pressing forward trying to get the finish, which he did.
You're right about that. That is the case in point why open scoring is not a good thing.
Yeah.
Right? I'm in favor of open scoring now because there's so many robberies, but 100%, if Ige knows he's up 2 rounds, he's just going to coast it out. Instead, he thinks, I could be down 2. It could be 1-1. I need to knock this guy out. And he does. And that's what fighting's all about, right?
100%. But yeah, the stoppage being worst of all, we've seen worse stoppages for sure. Was it the greatest? No. Was there a lot of time left and Woodson was up against the fence, taking shots, looking pretty wounded? Yeah, there was a lot of time. So it's of course, a minute later, maybe, it could have just been, the same result, different situation. You never really know, but, I've been on the good side and the bad side of those before. Was happy to be on the good side of this because had that plus 500. Dan Ige by KO had it parlayed as well. It was a wild night. It was my best night of MMA betting ever. So after a bad regional week, we were trending in the right direction. Your final thoughts on this?
Yeah, Ige did what we needed him to do. We backed him as the underdog. We backed him as Ige by KO at plus 350. So the fact that he's able to cash both those things is great. But it does show you the subjectiveness of judging. The first round, I'm watching it, and this is where stats mess you up. I thought Ige was winning the first round. I truly did. And then they showed the numbers, and the numbers had Woodson landing, as Paul will show you.
26.
Right, and as soon as they showed that, and this was my thought. As soon as they showed it, I thought, who's determining what's significant? Because although Ige's only landed 9, he's chucking bombs. Yeah. He's throwing huge left hooks, huge right hands. He's trying to step in the pocket. He's missing a whole bunch, but what he is landing, big shots with the body too. That big old leg kick that Joe Rogan came in his pants about. What he is landing is big. What Woodson landing is,
yeah.
So how are you going to tell me that all 26 of these, because you'll see the total strikes for round 1, it's 26 and the significant is 26. So they determine that every strike he threw or landed was significant. Round 2, you'll see it's 24.
Long, leg kicks.
There's only 18. There's only 18 significant in round 2 as opposed to the 24. So the second round, they're all of a sudden saying, oh yeah, that bullshit is not really a significant strike. It's a total strike. If you're on the ground and you're doing this to somebody's head, they're not significant strikes. They're total strikes. That's essentially what Woodson was doing. But I'll completely be honest with you. My heart's telling me Ige's winning this first round, but it's close. As soon as they showed that, I immediately just accepted that I lost the first round. So judges can't have those numbers because again, it's not the whole tale of it. The second round, again, Woodson is by the numbers out landing him, but now it's way closer. And Ige's landing. The tide is starting to shift in such a way that it's like the first round he can keep his distance, he can triple him up. The second round it's a lot closer, and he's having trouble, of just evading Ige. Nixick, I thought going into the third would have been like, you need to go for the finish. The live line had Woodson minus 220 going into the third. All three judges have Woodson down 2-0. The second round, a lot better for Ige than the first round, and yet Woodson's the favorite going into the third round. It's a missed spot in the market for sure, but it also just goes to show you that whoever's setting these lines, the fans watching at home, nobody knows if this thing is 2-0 Ige, 2-0 Woodson, or 1-1. Nixick didn't say, buddy, this is close, you need to knock him out. They were just like, just do exactly what you did in that second round. You got your rhythm, you got your timing, bang with this guy. And that's exactly what he did. Early stoppage, sure. Woodson is on his way back up. It's an early stoppage. There was still enough time that Ige would have just pressed him. Because of the way the judges already had the thing scored, it wouldn't have mattered. Because we had a plus 350 KO prop, love that that's how it played out. Early stoppage, sure. To say it's the worst stoppage in UFC history, like Ion Kudalaba versus Magomed Ankalaev. Kudalaba does this, and they jump in and stop it. Was that not a worse stoppage? You got a Sean Woodson that's tired. You got a Sean Woodson that's getting landed on. You got a Sean Woodson that just got dropped. And 2 weeks ago, Drew Dober's hanging onto the ankle, eating hammer fists, and everyone says what a bad stoppage it is. The guy's hanging onto the ankle, eating hammer fists. The ref makes a conscious decision. This is over, and it just so happens that Woodson's getting up at the same time. I'll take it. I thought it was an early stoppage. I'll take it.
Yeah.
But it wasn't the worst stoppage I've ever seen in my life. Like I've seen a lot of bad stoppages. Whatever. You don't agree with it. It doesn't matter. I think the right guy won at the end of the day. And again, there's enough time left on the clock that he gets up all wobbly, all flat-footed, all 6'3", standing way up in the air. Ige's still going to be in the pocket. Ige still knows he's got this guy tired. Ige's name is 50K Ige. You think he's just going to chill? He's going to try to knock him fuck out again.
He was on him like a dog on a bone for sure.
You know what I mean? Like
Ige was chasing that finish. Like the moment that like Woodson started getting wobbly, it's like he was going after it. Maybe it doesn't work. Maybe he kind of like gasses himself out chasing it. We'll never know because it was.
He's got a good gas tank. I think he would have just been like.
I think it was inevitable
left,
at that point.
Empty the clip.
I think it was inevitable at that point. It was 3 minutes and 45 seconds left. Like there was a lot of time left. So. Worst stoppage ever. Good stoppage? No. Worst stoppage ever? No. This was like the best call of the night for me. Reyes.
This is a good stoppage.
I still don't understand how Dominic Reyes was the underdog. He had a bad stretch. It's kind of like maybe it's a little bit of a study in like personal growth, kind of like looking at a fighter, looking at their journey, looking at the time off that they took off in between, and then looking at the fights that they had when they came back. Because, like, when I was doing tape for this, I kind of scrapped, that 4-fight losing streak. Most of them were against elite competition. John Jones, and then, Yuri, and what was the third? Was it Alex? Yeah, either way, I can't think off the top of my head. And then the Span one, we were like, Span loss is a bad loss. It's a bad loss. It happens though. But it's like since he came back from that thing, and so it's like as he likes to always say, I'm not back, I'm better. He did some soul searching. It's just like Dominic Reyes is all the way back. Could somebody else that's elite in this division knock him out? Sure. But like the fact that, when we were talking on the show, he was like plus 175, tipped it in the Discord, plus 165. And the action started to come in, but it's like the man went off as an underdog. Like wild the disrespect on Dom Reyes' name. He was the third leg of an absurd parlay. So I had him straight as well, but Reyes KO, Dan Ige KO, and Mikey O baby plus round one 3-leg parlay paid 150 to 1. Beep. Put it in the clip. But yeah, I was happy with the straights. Like I do a lot of like this crazy stuff because it's just like that's how I try to win. That's how I try to win big. It's like I I do some crazy stuff that like other people would be like, oh, you shouldn't be doing that type of stuff. But it's like that's what works for me. Rather than parlaying like 8-10 legs together, I'm trying to find like 2-3 props that that'll pop. And Saturday night was the night. Also had that the Reyes and Ige with Jean Silva to win inside the distance, but we'll talk about that one in a second. But yeah, outrageous night for me. Pretty happy with how everything went. But yeah, Dom Reyes, underdog, he's gonna start getting some respect, as he damn well deserves.
Yeah, I'm sure he will now. But yeah, it's a great story, really. He goes from possibly beating John Jones and should be the world champion to absolutely abysmal. His career is over. He can't take a punch. To he's right back into the mix. Him versus Jamal Hill makes a lot of sense. I don't want to see them run him versus Yuri back right away.
No,
but I mean him versus Khalil Roundtree, or there's a bunch of good fights for him on the table, and I feel like he really has reinvigorated himself. What changed? I'm not so sure, but he always had skill. It's just you need that confidence going. Why he was the underdog, that I can't tell you, but I don't think he should have been some sizable favorite. He looked like he should have been a minus 5,000 favorite.
yeah,
but
it's easy when you get a first round knockout.
Yeah, but truthfully, it should have just been a 50-50 fight. You knew that he had some spotty moments in his career. You knew he's a little bit older. You knew you want to see a little bit more before you got back on the bandwagon. But at the same time with Krylov, why did people love him so much? He hasn't fought in damn near 2 years. He had like huge operation on his shoulder. He's abandoned his Ukrainian citizenship and just repping Russian now. Like, he's a villain and he hasn't fought in 2 years. When I saw him on the scales and I saw the fight start, I thought to myself, there's a good chance that Dominic Reyes is about to get knocked out cold. And then a week or two from now, they're going to tell me that Krylov pissed hot. And then I don't get my money back. I lost the fight, right? Like your site's not going to give you a push 2 weeks later because the guy had a no contest, but he looked in seriously good shape. But then he also just looked small, like he's shredded, but he didn't really have much life to him. He actually got wobbled with like a jab. It was just like a stiff jab from the southpaw stance from Reyes. A minute into the fight, he kind of got wobbled. Then all of a sudden, he's trying to chase. He's constantly trying to chase, and Reyes just made all the right reads. I'm going to intercept this guy as he comes in. Nasty knockout, nasty stoppage, throws your name back on the top of the mountain in terms of 205-pound contenders. Huge win for Dominic Reyes. And of course, yeah, if you can cash on it and you can add it to tickets, because when you're adding good plus money to stuff, that's where you really start to hit those multipliers. Great way to go. Was this a 50-50 fight where they were both going to throw? One guy was going to get knocked out? Yeah, absolutely. We just happen to have the right guy. Run it back 10 times.
I think it was probably a 60-40 fight, to be perfectly honest.
I think better than
I didn't
that.
understand
I
just really didn't understand the Krylov love. Like, what is like? I thought he had to get his wrestling going to have any sort of success here, which he was able to do against like Volkanovski. I thought like
one time he used his wrestling one time. He's got like 38% accuracy for takedowns in the UFC, and it's like I just don't know. That was
his path, and like Dom has always been hard to take down historically. Yeah. Like I didn't really understand. Like the volume's always low on him. The only thing is like because Dom Reyes got knocked out, lost 4 in a row and got knocked out 3 times in a row, and like his career looked like it was finished. But he came back and showed you twice that's just like, okay, he's kind of rejuvenated. I don't know. I thought Dom should be the favorite. So this was a huge play for me this week. Either way, we move on to the next one. And Cody, the Lord is good. The Lord is good. Holy crap. I'm sure a lot of people got absolutely torched by the KO prop here. It's just like you got to be careful with that type of stuff. Like I had I had Silva KO round 1 at like plus 333, but I also had the inside the distance like parlayed up at minus 110 rather than taking like the plus 120, because it's just like you never know how MMA is gonna play out. Like I figured you'd get him out of there. I'm like, what if like we're late in round 3 and it's just like a tired wobbled or something and falls into a guillotine? It's kind of what happened is that John Silva absolutely mopped the floor with them. Fighting nerds, do not step in front of the train right now, Cody.
It was such a beautiful game plan, and they were kept talking about the fighting nerds, and they're all winning, and it's a real good gym. But it's like, why? Is it by fluke? Is it by chance? Did they just have to happen to have a bunch of talented guys all walk in at the same time? But it's the coaching, it's the leadership, it's the work that they're putting in. Everything he did was built for Bryce's game. Like where he fought with his hands low, he's waiting for an uppercut as Bryce steps in, and his hands are low so he can dig a double underhook, or at least a single underhook if Bryce is to shoot. Bryce's whole game in this fight was going to be getting the fight to the ground. Nobody or their mother, nobody in the world said he's going to win this fight in a striking match with Gene Silva, is that he needed to get the fight to the ground.
1 of 14.
He didn't even come close, man. Even the one that he got, he snared up in a guillotine choke. In fact, most of the times that he was able to get the fight to the ground partially, he's immediately snatched him in the guillotine choke. Whereas I don't love jump the gilly, and I don't love, bail out on digging an underhook, and I'm just going to wrap up the neck. He's so physically strong that his ability to just grab the neck, whether it be a front headlock, whether it be a darce, whether it be a modified guillotine, whether it be a straight guillotine, he's very, very physically strong. Now, again, fighting's all about proving stuff. So he already proved he could strike. We already knew that Silva had massive power. We also knew that he had good striking. To me, his cardio is a little unproven, and his ground game is unproven. Charles Jourdain can take you down 3 times. That's problematic. Either this is a really bad version of Mitchell, I think partially is true, or Silva's just rock solid. He's getting better. He's young. He's got his wife with him. She gives him this source of power. He gets barking. He gets in there, and he's having a really good time. All the best fighters in the world. Georges St. Pierre is like, I used to throw up in the back before the fight, every fight, because the nerves would get to me. John Jones is having some drinks in the back because the nerves are getting to him. Khabib Nurmagomedov retires at 29-0 instead of just getting the 30 because the nerves are getting to him. Fighting is a very difficult sport, both physically and mentally and spiritually, but not for this guy. It's like he's a kid going on a roller coaster. Like, I want to go again. I want to go again. It's like, holy shit, man. After the first round, which he had won, he looks at Bryce. He says, let's touch gloves. Let's touch gloves. And Bryce shakes his head. He says, come on, let's touch gloves. Bryce says no. The round starts. He body kicks Bryce. He points at him and yells something in Portuguese. I don't know. But you just know from the body language, it's like, I offered you mercy. And you fucking turned it down. Now you're dead. And then he proceeded to do exactly that. So as much praise that I have for Silva, and I'm not going to take any away from him, is really, really good. The other small part of me is like, this is a really bad version of Bryce Mitchell. He's independent fighter. He trains himself. He has a barn in Arkansas where his cousin AJ Cunningham comes in and a couple high school kids. He has no high-level training partners. He has no current jiu-jitsu coach. He has no wrestling coach. He has no striking coach. He's just a tough hillbilly from Arkansas. And although that got him to a certain level, being very physically strong and having good enough grappling and good enough wrestling, it's gotten to him a certain level. It's not going to get him over this hump. He would have to say, I'm leaving, not forever, but he'd have to get, like, imagine if he would have just accepted the olive branch and said, I'm going to go to the Fighting Nerds for 6 months, which you would never do. But imagine he went to Fight Ready, or imagine he went to American Top Team, or imagine he went to just, there's so many good gyms with so many good coaches and so many good training partners, but Bryce is stuck in this, the earth is flat, and I'll just train myself in my garage, and that's good enough. So I had to take the dog shot, and you got to admit, earlier in the week when he was huge plus money, it was like, okay, he's going to maybe expose a grappling game. But by the end, it was like he was short plus money, and he looked really bad in this fight, and Silva looked really good in this fight. And when those two things met in the middle of the road, it was destruction. It was destruction for Gene Silva. So huge win. Fighting Nerds keep the good times rolling. And I'll be honest with you, this was the night of the featherweights. It's like Dan Ige just sparked Woodson. It was really fun. It was a good time. It's like he would get absolutely slaughtered by Silva. It's like, oh, Volkanovski's back. He just won the title. He would get knocked out in the first round by Silva. Yeah, Rodriguez keeping Patricio Pitbull at bay. Both of those guys are probably going to get knocked out by Silva. Diego Lopes could catch him in a choke. Yeah, I'm starting to doubt that now. I think he probably gets knocked out by Silva. The night's his. The only guy that can maybe mess with him would be Evloev. If you can just shoot takedowns the whole time. Problem is, fight him now in a 3-rounder. you don't want to fight this guy in a 5-rounder, because at that point damage will start to compile more than control time, and he'd probably beat you. So very, very promising future for Silva, who I was saying before the fight, I'd like to see him tone down the theatrics, but no, this is just who he is. Don't mess with a guy who's just being genuine and being himself, and barking like a dog and being a crazy person is who he is. So just roll with it, brother. Do your thing.
Yeah, it makes him different, man. And like he obviously doesn't speak English, so it's like having this, or he doesn't speak great English. Um, Bryce Michel, Bryce Michel, like that's basically his English right there. It's just like, it's good. He's got a gimmick. He's got a gimmick. He's trying to sell himself in some way. Like, I mean, I don't know if there's a bit of a cross going on here in terms of like what's a gimmick and what's what's the real deal. But either way, the guy is a bad man. You better watch out.
They made a comment on the thing there before the fight. They're like, he envisions that he is going to be a champion and he is going to be a multi-millionaire someday. And John Nang's, well, he's on the right way. It's like, nah, he believes himself. It's one of those people that's like, he's believing it into the universe. He's wishing it into existence. He gets in there and he capitalizes on every second that's presented to him. Fun performance. I would say, even though Mitchell looked like shit, it's still probably performance of the night as far as I'm concerned. Like he came out of this night looking like he's got the brightest future.
Yep. We got Yair Rodriguez, absolutely dominates pillar to post, really. Patricio Pitbull. Welcome to. It's sad. It's sad. I don't want to say that. Not sad. It's not like Darren Elkins sad, but it's like Patricio Pitbull is a badass, been an absolute legend over in Bellator. But it's like, what? We're getting him at what, 38 years old? Up a weight class, really? Like, this guy's a bantamweight. He looked all that bit of a bantamweight in this fight. 1 of 4 on takedowns. Got, almost quadrupled up, basically quadrupled up on significant strikes. Outside of a submission attempt, like, I don't know. I mean, there's going to be plenty of fun fights for Patricio Pitbull, but for how much he's getting paid and everything like that, I don't know. I don't know what they're going to do with him next. I guess see, Chandler's at 155. It's like, I don't want to see Patricio move up to 155 to do that. He could, and it would be a lot of fun, and we'd be 100% on board. But I don't know. Yair did everything he had to do. Use that long reach, use that speed advantage, use the big cage to move around. It's another fight that we talked about, and the market, a bunch of fights this week. Frankly, that's just everyone loved Bryce Mitchell this week. The market loved Bryce Mitchell, and didn't work out. Market loved Freite, particularly later in the week. I think as last second there was a pop back up, but it's like a lot of action coming in on him. There was a bunch of bad CLV this week out there in the MMA streets. It's really hard knowing where these markets are going to move these days. I'm not going to lie. I just get kind of dumbfounded by it sometimes, but you just go with your reads and hope that you get the best price when you get them. But yeah, Yair, it was pretty clinical, really. Your thoughts?
Yeah, well, that's it. I ended up going with Gary on the top. It's striker versus striker, and I got a lot of respect for Patricio, but it was good value. It was good value. And again, I always talk about how it's so much easier once the fight's done to say, hey, I told you so, and look at this, and this. You never want to be that guy. But this is one that you can look back on hindsight and say, yeah, Rodriguez is a former interim champion. He's long, he's lengthy, he's got way more volume, he's got his kick game alone. Paul mentioned they're in a big cage. Literally all the variables are going in his favor. The other guy is a Bellator champ. And as much as you'll never meet a bigger Bellator fan in your life than me, it's a B-League promotion. You can fight guys like Derek Gertz and them, all you want, Brendan Gertz and Derek Getzel. And, even his brother's had a long tenure in Bellator. His brother would have gotten torched in the UFC. So there are levels to it. He has a win over Chandler. That apparently doesn't mean a ton anymore, but Chandler's actually the same thing. Other than a win over Dan Hooker in the UFC, he's been shit in the UFC, but he's a Bellator champ. These Bellator champs, it has prestige. And then how did they how would Lyman Good, or, if Gegard Mousasi was to come back. How does a guy like Aaron Jeffrey do in the UFC? How does a guy like, there's just a bunch of them. Anyways, all of that's irrelevant. The thing is, it's a big jump. He's 37. He's 5'5". He's 1-3 or 1-2 in his last 3 fights. He struggles against taller guys. Like, it was all there for you. So I says, you know what? I think Yair's going to win this fight. We talked about it on DOP. We talked about it on the weigh-in show. I'm just going to go ahead and solidify this thing and put him on the top ticket. And this is partly the reason why I just don't really care to go on Twitter anymore. So you post it, and it's not just like, oh, hey, man, best of luck to you. I'm going with the other guy, but best of luck to you. It's like you just get laughed at. Why would you take Yair Rodriguez?
Yeah.
I mean, I've outlined it multiple times that Patricio's very low volume. He's very small. He's 37 now. This is his UFC debut. It's likely the toughest guy he's ever fought, if we're being real. But no, that's not good enough. It's a fucking laughing matter about what a bum you are. And then you never hear about it after the fact when he wins a 30-27 across the board. But it's just like, that's why I want to hang in the Discord. I want to hang out with the people that actually have opinions. Go with the other side. I don't care.
Yeah.
But go with the side and add something to the conversation, Or just, hey, man, I respectfully disagree. This is what I'm going with. Cool, man. They're like, all good. But you don't want people getting in your head. And I'll admit.
They're setting a plan. So if you lose that, they're going to go back and be like, I told you so.
100%. No, 100%.
But if it doesn't, it's crickets. I mean, here's the thing, man. It's like, I'm almost 40 years old. I'm an old man in these streets these days. I spent many years caring. And it's not anybody in particular. There's plenty of great people in MMA Twitter. This is not like an attack on anybody. It's just like, and I spent a lot of time probably getting engaged in like a lot of the same type of discourse of like, this guy stinks, blah, 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 blah. Like, I'm not perfect. I'm not, but it's just like, I'm old now. It's just like, what I don't need is like a bunch of other voices in my mind. And frankly, this has been my best year of MMA handicapping in a long time. Why? I think because I've literally closed out all of the noise. You can hear my takes on Dogger Pass. You can hear and see my plays and stuff in the Discord, and I'm always happy to share with all of our Discord and Patreon stuff. But on top of that, Dogger Pass, Bookie Beatdown, that stuff's not really going anywhere. It's like I will always be honest with what I think, what I take, but it's just like I just can't be bothered to engage with any of it online anymore. Frankly, I think it's a waste of my time. And yeah, and like I used to love all that stuff. And this isn't an attack on anyone in particular. It's just like there's only so many hours in a day, and it's like arguing with random people on the internet about a bet that you already made anyway that's going to win or lose is a waste of time. That's my take on all of it.
Yeah, dude, I think you're absolutely right. And I think in the beginning, you want to build your viewership and you want to engage with people and you want more numbers and you care about how many followers you have. But then at some point, it's like, man, honestly, I just like betting it. If I was all by myself in a small little room with a small little monitor, and this is what I would be doing anyways. So engaging people and talking with people is just because I want to meet friends in this space. I don't have any friends in my real life that it would be like, oh my God, dude, did you watch the Nora Cornolle fight last night? Like, no, zero. Who the fuck watched that in my real life? But these are my friends that I've met on the internet. I don't play Call of Duty. I don't play Halo. I don't have my video game buddies. These are my internet friends. The being on Twitter, it's like what I come to realize is like, these guys are not my friends, or a lot of them are, but not all of them are. A lot of them are wishing for my downfall, or a lot of them don't like what I'm doing. A lot of them would say, okay, to this point, we're rolling on tickets. We got Tulio, Cornolle, both won. So our fourth line's good. Erosa wins. Reyes has dog money. We got, oh, baby Mikey O and Hooper out of the way. We're just down to Yair and Volk, right? If Yair loses or Volk loses, I'm a bum. They don't care about all the other picks. They just care about the little tweet with 6 lines of fighters on it. Whatever, if that's all you care about, fine. The people that are over on Patreon, they got good props. We were profitable on props as well. Lost on Cornolle Cowan over 2.5. That's my bad. Lexichik Dumas over 1.5. Dumas looks so bad. But then after that, we clean sweeped. Hooper versus Miller over 1.5 minus 155. Dan Ige by TKO plus 350. Rodriguez versus Pitbull over 2.5 minus 155. And Volkanovski ends up winning a decision at plus 225. So, but is it my job to tell these people that fucking hate me on Twitter anyways, all this shit? Fuck you, man. What we're trying to do here is like, build a proper conversation. And I've said it since day one. If you want to join the Patreon, join the Discord, and tell me I'm a piece of shit and you fucking hate me, do it. Pay the $10 and you can have the right to tell me what you think. But some guy that no, you don't agree with that. But as far
I'll
as
probably kick you out. I'll probably kick you out because I don't need your $10. That's how I actually look at it. But
yeah,
we're different.
Yeah, different. I'm down with free speech. I'm down with, if I had a bad night and
I'm down with free speech for the most part.
That it's a bad night. If you want to place your blame on me because you made some bad picks, but I was on the same side. If you want to place the blame on me, whatever, it's the right to free speech. You don't have the right to do is go on Twitter on this little icon on an account that got made 3 weeks ago that has 17 followers and talk your shit. What the fuck is that? Right? If you everyone says, like, when you go to court, you have the right to face your accuser, right? Man, I believe in that shit more than anything. You said I did something wrong, fucking say it to my face. Twitter's not that. This, you can put whatever your name is, but I know your email. I know where you're from. You've got enough to pay for the service. It's not an expensive fee, but once you pay, whatever. Don't drop racist stuff like that one guy said something stupid. Paul put him in his place.
He was good yesterday, though.
He was good yesterday, and that's it. Like, we're building the community that I wish Twitter was, but just Twitter was, I wouldn't say turn their back on me. I mean, the platform X, whatever, the platform's done a ton for me. If you consider this a career, the career is because of social media and the people that hit tickets and propped me up, and I appreciate all of that. But yeah, now we're just advanced at a point now where it's like it's become an absolute cesspool, and I just feel like we can build something a lot better than that and a lot more progressive than that. I don't know. I really don't know how to say it. Just a better place to hang out. A happier place altogether.
Twitter's became a marketplace, man. Everyone's trying to sell you something. And I guess we probably use it for our own marketing stuff. So it's not like we're any better than anybody else. But whenever I go on, it's just like everyone's just trying to. They want something from you. They want your money. They want your attention. They want you to click some sort of thing. As I've gotten older, it's just like, what am I really getting from this anymore? So I've really disengaged from the whole thing. Spend more time in my group chat, spend a bunch of time over in the Discord because we've got a good community there. It's like, I would say 99.9% of the people in that Discord loving it, growing a nice little fun community to go hang out, watch fights. And luckily for this card, win bets. But yeah, let's go to the one that we were dead wrong about. Paddy Pimblett. My God. I mean, people are going to say, oh, well, Chandler's lost. Maybe there's a little bit of that. And I had Chandler and some other parlays that lost. It would have been an even more nuclear night, but it is what it is. It's just like, I can admit when I was dead wrong. My God, Paddy with twins, mythological creature.
Daddy.
Somebody in our somebody in the Discord actually said is that lightweight has their Drickus now.
Yeah,
I think that was a great representation. What Paddy's doing on the feet doesn't look, how you would teach it in a martial arts gym. His wrestling. He's taking on a guy who's a former collegiate wrestler. He slammed the shit out of him in round 3. Hats off. I've been a Paddy hater. He cost me money on like the parlay side of stuff because like I had Chandler to cash a couple other, decent sized hits and dead wrong. Can't do anything but accept the fact that like I have underrated this guy and Paddy the daddy is a badass. So hats off to him. You've earned all of my respect at this point. Your thoughts?
Yeah, so Raposo killed my line with Chandler, and Mitchell had lost anyways, so financially it wasn't like that big of one, but all the same, I'm backing Chandler. I think he'll win. I don't got a ton of confidence, as you can see why he was lower on the list, but still, he's the pick. He's the guy. You had a read on him, you stuck with it, and he got smoked. Now, huge performance from Paddy, just like Paul said. You never want to, disparage a performance. It was like solid work. What he's doing doesn't look overly, brilliant, but he's got a lot of power. At one point, Chandler threw a big right hand that partially landed. Paddy just threw one in return that landed. And it's like, Chandler's considered a murderous power puncher, and Patty by no stretch is, and yet they're throwing at the same. You know, Chandler's considered this collegiate wrestler who's got a great wrestling base and really good scrambles and really athletic. And Patty's beating him in all these scrambles. He's out wrestling him. So everything he did really well. But I think undeniably Michael Chandler looked awful. And I'm not going to say, well, his striking looked awful and his wrestling looked awful or any one thing other than halfway through the first round, he looks tired. He's huffing and puffing 3 minutes into the fight. Now, is that because he's 39? Did he have a bad weight cut? Did the moment get to him? Was he sick in the buildup? Like, Chandler's such a badass that he probably would take a fight if he wasn't feeling well. I don't know what it was. No excuse. He lost fair and square, and if he ran that thing back, he'd lose pretty well in every scenario. He got outclassed top to bottom. But to me, it was one of these guys that could have Chandler have won that fight a few years ago.
Maybe. Perhaps.
But he had a 2-year-long layoff chasing Conor McGregor. Then he fights Charles, essentially lost 22 and a half minutes of the fight with Charles, lost the fight altogether, but he only really had a moment of like 2 minutes of success, 90 seconds of success in the entirety of the fight. And then Patty played a similar game plan. I'm bigger than him. I'm stronger at this stage than him. I can back him up. When he shoots these little takedowns, he's so short, I'm going to meet him with a knee up the middle. Caused a bunch of damage, hurt him, got him to the ground, out-grappled him. Chandler never been submitted, and it's like he's just getting put in bad spot after bad spot after bad spot, and just a lot of pressure coming from Patty Pimblett. So quality performance from Patty. For Chandler, it does leave a lot to be desired. You know, my biggest takeaway is that Conor had this thing marked. He handpicked Michael Chandler. I can beat this guy. And the fight ended up never happening. But watching that version of Michael Chandler, I'm not sure what Conor's got left. Conor stiffs him almost 100%. Chandler's throwing 2 punches at a time. His wrestling is quick explosion, hit you up against the cage, and then you pop back up. And he's getting reversed. Could he out-grapple McGregor? Yeah, okay, sure. But for how long? How long before McGregor just ends up one time and hits him with a straight left down the pipe? He looked vulnerable to me. And keep in mind, it's like this guy got knocked stiff by Patricio Pitbull, who you've seen on this card, who's actually younger than Michael Chandler. He's 5'5" and a natural bantamweight, and he's knocked Chandler out. So Chandler's an all-action guy, real fun. He can fight Dustin Poirier. It's a fight of the night. He can fight Justin Gaethje. It's a fight of the night. He can fight Charles Oliveira. It could be a fun fight. But just all of these wars have really left him vulnerable. And this was a fun-ish fight, but Patty whipped his ass. And good for Patty. Again, he's got the 2 kids. He's making some money. He's a fan favorite. The UFC seriously is lacking stars right now. The stars from past generations, used to have Chuck and Tito and George St. Pierre and John Jones and Ronda Rousey and Conor McGregor. Like, those are all big, big names in the sport. Now, there's nothing. You can't say Islam Makhachev is a star. He's not. You can't say Dricus du Plessis is a star. He's not. You can't say the vast majority has any real type of draw power beyond hardcore fight fans. Less and less someone says, oh, who's fighting this weekend? And you tell them the headliner, and they don't even know who the hell it is. So if Patty can win fights, he could be that star for them. He's got huge international exposure. He's got a great character. Gene Silva, if he spoke English, he could be a massive star. That's definitely gonna be a clutch. Yeah, he could still overcome it. But there's not been a whole lot of guys that became bona fide. Like Jose Aldo was never like a bona fide star. Anderson Silva though was. So yeah, no, speaking English,
it can work.
Anderson did actually speak English. He just chose not to.
Yeah.
The guy's lying about it, bro. He speaks English.
For sure.
Yeah, anyways, it doesn't matter. That this was a huge win for the UFC. Patty can do some big things. He looked career best. I thought the stat that they put it out was Patty's last 3 opponents combined for 13 straight losses. So is he ready to fight for the belt tomorrow? No. But is he well on his way? Yeah, I thought he looked good. It's been selective matchmaking, no doubt about it. But he continues to grow and improve, and that's all you can really hope to see from a fighter that hopes to make it, right?
Brother, he's got here's the thing that it really comes down to. An improving striking game. It seems like insane durability. I mean, he always says Scousers don't get knocked out, but it's like we don't really outside. I guess we did see Vendramini rock him, but like that's one time. That's MMA. That's Jai Herbert rocked Ilya Topuria. So it's like the punchy kicky. These things happen, but. Matt Serra knocked out GSP. Like it's MMA. Crazy stuff happens. He's got great durability. The cardio looked a hell of a lot better. I think maybe with the kid now, he's taking because he used to get really fat in between camps and put on a ton of weight. I don't know if that's really happening. He's taking, his conditioning. a lot more seriously, like, good for Patty, man. I've been an absolute doubter. Some would say maybe even a hater. I would never say really hater myself, but been dead wrong on this guy. So credit where credit's due. Patty's ready for the next step up.
Patty's a baddie.
Patty the daddy is a baddie. Finally, we got Volkanovski, Lopes main event action. I'll just throw it over to you. What do you think about Volk getting the belt back here?
Yeah, like I'm dead tired at this point, but I did pretty bad in the regionals on Friday, and so this is going to cap off everything. Now I can hedge, but I'm just like, listen, the top ticket already hit at this point, so let's just roll this thing out. Everyone's saying Lopes is going to knock him out or sub him. I just need Volk to do what he does best, and that's just play a smart game plan, which is what he did. Volkanovski is mostly just jabbing and throwing leg kicks and a lot of movement. But for Diego Lopes, you talk about losing a lot of money to Patty Pimblett. I've lost a lot of money betting against Diego Lopes.
Same.
I do not like what this guy brings to the table. I don't think he's an elite striker. I don't think he's an elite wrestler. I don't think he's got great volume.
Got power.
He's got power, but against who? Who is he knocked out? He's knocked out Sodiq Youssef.
Certainly got power.
No, he throws hard. That's it. He throws hard.
He knocked Volk down. He hurt his eye. Like he has power. Power's just not enough at this level to win consistently.
Yeah, well, I guess my definition would be is like, Max Holloway. He's a volume puncher. Sure, he has power. Sure, he could knock you down, but it's mostly just like he hits you with a really good shot. Lopez's knockout wins are Pat Sabatini, who cannot take a punch for shit. Sodiq Youssef, who's completely washed and done. But he hurt Brian Ortega. Yeah, but he did not put him away. Oh, he partially drops Alexander Volkanovski. He does not put him away. A power puncher is like Ilya Topuria. When he hits Volk goes down. When he hits Max Holloway goes down. What this guy does is he's so tall, he steps in and cracks you with a big uppercut or a big right hand. And it's mostly always in the first round, maybe the first round or two. Cardio is not elite. Ground game, no doubt it's good, but he gives up easy takedowns. If you just throw the legs aside, you can have a whole lot of success on top of them. I'm coming off as a Diego Lopes hater, and I'll admit he earned way more respect from me last night than he ever has before. To me, he's a flash in the pan. He showed a lot more substance yesterday. He was able to go 5 rounds. He's able to fight one of the best guys in the division. He was able to give a good account of himself. I thought he was 4-1 that he lost. Could have been 3-2. Any world that exists, he loses the fight. But hey, man, he went out there and he gave a great account of himself against a tough guy like Alexander Volkanovski. He will probably continue to make some improvements. He'll probably continue to get a little bit better. But I think Silva absolutely sparks him. Him versus Yair Rodriguez is probably the next logical fight that the UFC will try to put together. Likely try to put it in together in Mexico for the title of who's the real Mexican. So if there's fun fights that he can have, he's got a nasty submission game. He throws hard, like Paul's saying. But he's just not my kind of guy. So I needed Volkanovski to just prove me right just this one time. Mm-hmm. I didn't think Volk actually looked all that. He looked really good in the first round, landing some overhand rights, moving well. After that, I think he just fought the smart game plan, which I can really appreciate. But he didn't wow me. In fact, he's got the belt now. If Silva comes in there, Volk's not taking Silva down. Maybe he does, but I don't think he's holding him down. You'd have to constantly be fighting out of whatever choke attempts he's throwing. But beyond that, when we talk about real power punchers, that's a real power puncher. Lopes is not. He's dangerous. He's definitely dangerous. He'll continue to win some fights in this division. I can see this guy losing to a pile of guys. If Pat Sabatini does not choose to stand with him, I think Pat Sabatini can beat him, truth be told. But it's a fight, and it just chooses on what the guys choose to do in that moment, how they match up in that moment. They're fighting one time, not 10 times. So the best man wins in the moment. But yeah, listen, I'm just really appreciative that Volkanovski got the win because obviously it meant a lot to me and a lot of other people that were betting it. Volk's back. Volk, we love it. He's got the title. He breaks this record of being the oldest guy to win the belt and get it back. And all that stuff sounds good, but I don't think he looked all that good. He didn't look like career best performance. It didn't look like he was back. It didn't look like this guy's still the best featherweight in the world. It was just enough to beat Diego Lopes.
100%. Well, that was UFC 314. UFC is finally off this week, but the show goes on with us. I mean, regionals were really bad this past week. Some would say we're, like Johnny the Greek would say, we're due for positive regression, perhaps. you never really know, but there's like PFL, there's BKFC. I don't know if we'll get to the BYB.
No.
There's just so much going on. There's a Battlefield Fight League. There is something else as well, LFA or something like that. Either way,
Yeah, there's an LFA.
tons of regional stuff this week. We will plan on breaking it all down. I'm going to be in Vegas starting on Wednesday. So I've been hopping, like I was up this morning hopping into PFL tape. The grind never stops here at Bookie Beatdown. So if you're interested in more, hit up the description, hop on into the Patreon, and then instructions on how to get to the Discord. Use desktop to get from the Discord to the, or sorry, from the Patreon over to the Discord. There's been lots of people who have been having issues with like mobile phones and stuff from making that transition. I only say that because it's just like I don't check that every single day. And then there's usually a few people, and then I have to go in there and kind of direct people how to do it. So hopefully if you're watching right now and you're like, hey, yeah, we'll hop on. We'll give these guys a try for a month, whatever. That's great. If not, that's fine too. We will see you, next Dogger Pass podcast for the Prantes card, which is at the end of April. And then if you're just like, oh, bro, I just watch your guys' recap show, we'll have a recap right here on this very channel on YouTube, the Bookie Beatdown channel. You should subscribe because there's gonna be a lot more stuff coming here in the very near future. But that is it for us. Hope you all had a great week. Hope you all made bank, and we'll see you next time. Peace.